Well, welcome back everyone to another comic shop talk. This is the greatest idea I have ever stolen. But before we get into this, I want to give a shout out to somebody I missed on my last video, Crooked Dog Comics. A great shop, opened last year. I've had some conversations through texts and emails. A great guy, he's on Instagram, he has a shop. And like I promised, I'm gonna try to shout out a new shop when I do videos, and I'm gonna do it right in the beginning so nobody misses it. And a little thing about the address. When you're opening a new shop, you don't know where your customers are coming from. When we were trying to make our last video, my editor pulled out his hair. That's why it was a little bit of long time between our videos, was because he really had to dig into the socials to find a picture of the storefront, to see what it looked like, to get the addresses. So we hope we got them all right, because, you know, we just assume that it's just local people that are coming to our store. When you open a little local business, you're like, oh, you know, the people across the street, the people in my town will come see me. But there are people that, you know, seek out new comic shops. And when they're driving through your area, they'll put in comic shop near me. And if the front page doesn't have the address, it might be tough to find you. So on your socials, put your address, maybe your phone number. It'd be great. Picture of the storefront really helps, because people know they're in the right spot when they see it. I didn't think about this. I didn't have it on my site forever either. And it was somebody, a traveler, who said that I almost didn't stop in because I could not find you. Because where my store is, it's a dash, it's 34-36 Front Street. When you put that into Google, it doesn't like that. It can't find, it's looking for 3,436, where my address is 34, because it used to be 2 storefronts, that's now 1. So now I always tell people it's 34 Front Street, because that's what they're gonna put in Google Maps or whatever map GPS they're using. We'll find it. So I had to make that designation. I had to do it for mail too. I was having a tough time getting my mail when I first got here. And if you don't have, when I say picture for the outside, if the outside is not your store, if you're inside of a mall or inside of any kind of building where your storefront is actually inside, take a shot of the outside of the building, but then also take a shot of the inside of the building. Like Wonder World Comics is inside of a mall. He has a picture of the store inside the mall. It really helps people. They feel more confident. You want people confident when they're coming, that they know where they're going. You don't want them to be any kind of anxiety or stress when they're coming to shop. You want it to be the most easy experience as possible. And I have to get better at that. And that's why I tell people, because I recognize I have to get better at making that experience better for my customers. Make sure you do that. And remember, Crooked Dog Comics, I believe Dan Hoffman. Don't quote me. My memory is so bad. Now, on to this. Nobody invented a record store, but adding it to a comic shop, I've had records in the past when I couldn't fill up my 3,000 square foot store. I did records. And as the store started to fill up with other content, as our Magic community grew really large pre-COVID, records went into the basement, DVDs, VHS, all went into the basement. And this was what we called the library, which was over 1 million Magic cards, commons and uncommons, for people to help make their decks. But the trend since COVID has been down from Magic the Gathering. I still have a pretty great community, just not as large as it used to be. Like, we used to have 60 players, pretty regular, and you know, we're down to like 20, 24, which is great. I love my Magic community. They really help support the store quite a bit. But what I did was I took what was pennies when we did sell any, and put that downstairs. And high dollar value, not only is it high dollar value, but really high margins. I buy DVDs and VHS and Blu-rays at 25 cents each, and I can get as many as I can buy. People call me every day. I have clean out guys. I have a lot of people. They can't move them, and they're selling them to me at $0.25 a piece. And I sell them at $5 for DVDs and $10 for Blu-rays. Now, a lot of people say, well, wait a second, you're not paying a fair price. They don't move at the rate they used to move. So we sell maybe 10 a week now. We're just starting out. As they begin to sell, so this is supply and demand. Let's go back to Business 101, super easy. I have a huge supply of DVDs, VHS, and Blu-rays. I can get as many as I want at $1/4 a piece. How many buyers do I have? So the demand has not ratcheted up yet. I look what Dennis has done in Michigan at Wonder World Comics, and now he has a Dead Media store. I call this my Dead Media space. I completely stole it from Dennis. I give him all the credit. I will take all the money. As long as I can get them at that price. If they start selling where I can't keep stock, then I'm going to have to raise the price I pay so more people will bring them to me. Right now, more people are still bringing them to me. I thought I wasn't going to be able to fill my shelves, and then I put out a little advertisement that I was buying DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHS, and now I have 4 30-gallon bins in the basement filled. All my shelves are completely full. We built another shelf which we have double racked. Yeah, lots. Now, vinyls I have to pay up for because they don't come around as often. Now, bad condition stuff. This is a great album. If you haven't heard Rare Earth, you should go out and get one. You know, 70s band, really cool, part prog, part hippie. This is not a bad album, get ready. But the condition of the album itself has scratching, still plays, but is scratched. There's a lot of wear, people wrote their name on it. I don't pay a lot for this. I may pay only 25 cents to 50 cents for this, and I sell these for like $3. But stuff like this, Tracy Chapman, is a $40 album. If this was in really bad condition, this would be in the $3 pile, but this is in magnificent condition. There's not the record wear that you usually see from the album being sit flat or being pulled in and out a lot. You usually get that, you know, that ring. There's a slightness to it, but not much. But the album itself is magnificent. So that ends up being like a $40 album. And I can get those at like $2 to $4 a piece. And people say, well, wow, that's still a huge margin. Yes, but you're gonna wait a long time to sell that album. It's not gonna run out the door. I could put $10 on it and maybe sell it faster, but the replacement cost, right? Supply and demand. Supply of vinyls in this kind of condition is not tremendous. The demand is moderate. Vinyls are coming along quite a bit. I'm actually found 2 distributors. I've signed up. I can now start buying new music. Actually, one of them even sells older music. They sell it at a wholesale price, but that's wholesale price for like, let's say like Pink Floyd The Wall is like for me, my price is 60 bucks. And that's before I ship it, right? A super great, pristine copy might get $100. I don't know if I want to pay 60. And so I'm gonna start buying some lower end albums from them and see what kind of condition they come in. Because they not only have brand new stuff, they also have vintage, which is, you know, killer. So you're probably asking yourself, how do I get a record? I don't have a record collection, how am I starting? Well, what I did was I advertised, and you can watch our advertising video. I use something, we locally have this little, it's called the Little Paper. And a lot of locals read it. And I just put in there buying vinyl, VHS, DVDs, Blu-rays. And when people would ask, I would ask them for their electronics that played them. Oh, if you're getting rid of your CDs, I'll take your CD player. If you're getting rid of your VHS, I'll take your VHS player. The great thing about it is to start looking for collections. I did a video on vacation one time, which is about sourcing. Find you your local clean out guys. And every town has clean out people. they get a lot of stuff they are throwing in the dump, and they would love to get cash for it. And they're not attached to it. In fact, they really hate it because they just spent, you know, a day pulling it out of the house, maybe out of somebody's attic, out of their garage, and they've lifted it all day, and they really, when they get cash for it, big smile, a big smile. And the other thing is that, you know, dead stock from a lot of people that do online selling because they're doing storage units, buying storage lockers and stuff like that. Just go to one of those auctions and hand out your cards and say, hey, listen, I buy your dead stock. If there's something that you're not familiar with to sell, I buy it. And then you have that steady people bringing you stuff all the time. If you're not buying, you're dying. Another great Dennis Barger quote. So, Dennis, I probably owe you some royalties. But these are the kind of businesses, if you live in a town or a city, and I have a whole video on this, you can find it, and I can't remember what we called it, but how comic shops, collectible shops, destination stores revitalize towns and cities. If you've got a rundown town, rundown city, you just have to find a landlord that's willing to give you a really low rent to give you a chance to get established. And you'll create a destination, and then once you have people coming to your store and other entrepreneurs are downtown and they're like, man, I wish I had an opportunity. And they see people coming in and out of your store, they're gonna go, wow, I bet they would like a cup of coffee, or maybe they would like, you know, some pizza, or, you know, and then they're gonna open a business next to you, and they're gonna create some destination. Some people are gonna wanna come just there, and then they're gonna go, oh, I didn't know this collectible, comic, whatever shop is next door. And then stores just keep opening up around you, and then the whole town is revitalized from one destination store. A lot of people would say you're dreaming, but that's what happened right here down in Port Jervis. There was stores downtown and it was still dead. A lot of empty stores, there was nothing happening. I just wanted to do this as a hobby, and I was actually in a small store off the main drag, and then I had a flood, you know, and I couldn't stay in the store that I was in because the landlord was crap, and the landlord of the building I'm in now came looking for me because the city had put in some things to make it advantageous for the landlords to make sure it gets their storefronts get rented. Got a great deal, opened up, and we had 60 people because there wasn't really a big place to play Magic back then, and we would have 60 to 80 people playing Friday Night Magic. There's been a lot of competition that's opened up in the past years, so they've cut off a lot of, and gave service to the people that lived farther away from me, which that's great. That's what should happen. As long as you're doing business correctly, it won't put you out of business. It's just gonna make more people play, and you'll get more advantageous from more players than worrying about losing players, right? And then if your community shrinks, you just provide better service to that community, and then you pivot into something else that the people they bring around. So like when your Magic community shows up on a different day to buy, you know, cards for their deck for this weekend, they're here on a Wednesday, they bring their girlfriend, or they come in with their parents go, wow, what's all this stuff? Their dad comes back and sees, hey, there's vinyl. He goes, oh, I remember listening to, let's see who we got back over here with. I remember listening to Wasp. Whatever happened to my Wasp album? Oh wait, that's promotional copy. Boom, then you got a sale on vinyl. It creates, a lot of people call it upsale, and not really upsale, it's an additional sale. Dennis says it great, he has a great thing. If when somebody comes in to buy a comic, they buy a comic and leave, you haven't done your job. When somebody comes in to buy Magic, albums, anything, they need to get that plus something. That's why I'm bringing in new records. There's not gonna be a huge profit margin in it, but they are gonna be mixed with some of the old records that have high value and high margins. And then I'm gonna create a whole local section for local bands. So when they're not playing out, they can say, oh, if you want a CD or a vinyl, go to Haven for Heroes. So then you have people marketing for you for free because I'm buying their CDs from them. That's the other thing, I don't do any consignment. I don't do it for people who make their own comics. I don't do it for people that make their own music. People come in and go, I don't want to sell you my stuff, I want you to consign it. Don't do it. There is going to be some rare things, like items I can't afford to buy. I might consign for somebody for a small percentage of hooking them up with getting a sale. And that's only happened a few very rare times. For the most part, consignment is more work than it's worth. If I'm just putting it on the wall, you still have to remember and track it, and then that person's calling you and did it sell, if they really need to sell it, and it just becomes way more work than the money you're gonna get when you finally sell it. If you're selling it online, it goes on your taxes as a full amount. I mean, you've gotta do gymnastics and stuff to, you know, if it's a large, let's say it's a $10,000 item. If you sell it online, that's gonna show up on your business for the taxes. Now, you can take that out of you can figure out the taxes on it and take it out. You have to make that crystal clear to the person who's putting it on consignment, because they think that whatever it sells for, they're gonna get half or maybe even some people want 60%. I digress, again, as usual, old man chasing squirrels with 88. I can't even say what I have. If you have the space in your store and you're looking to fill it, don't be afraid to move it, because sometimes you can't get a great collection of comics. And sometimes you can't get a great collection of magic. And your cash flow is building up and you really need something else to sell. You need to fill that space. Try to have, you know, use your whole store. A lot of people say, there's people come in and when it's cluttered, they don't like to buy. There is a few people like that, but there are stores for them, and that's usually like the big retail stores. If you're trying to look like a corporate store, it's going to be difficult and expensive. If you have the money to do it, that's great. If you're doing it on a shoestring like us, do what you can until you're well on your feet, get that first big collection, and then close for a week, a month, and redo the whole store. But I've gone on and on about this, but you really have to look at all different ways to fill your pockets so that you can keep that store open, so we can keep comics alive.